Tony from her Homestead Skills, and seeing as today is a cloudy, rainy day, I thought it would be a good time to tackle some of the chores that I have been neglecting. If you've been watching my previous videos, you know that I have attempted to do a freeze-dry experiment using a regular freezer. Apparently they say it can be done. So I'm going to show you the results of my experiment. That, and after that I salvage my sourdough starter, which has been neglected far too long. And yes, it is salvageable, and I'll show you how that's done. Okay, so a couple of things to catch up on. I don't know if you watched my video from April the 13th, I believe it was, when I decided that I would try freeze-drying experiment using my regular freezer. And I believe I cut up some apples and pears and tangerines, and they've been in the freezer this whole time. Now, I'll have to admit, it's just your kitchen freezer, not the deep freezer, and this is a bust. Perhaps there was just too much moisture in that freezer. It just didn't dry enough. I have no idea, but it should have only taken 3 weeks. It's been much, much longer than that. I left it in there to give it as much time as I could, and this is still moist, and I would not consider any of this suitable for human consumption. So I thought that these guys came the closest until they're thawing out, and then they just are not dry. They're still extremely moist. And April, May, June, almost, yeah, it's been over 2 months. 8 weeks instead of 3 weeks. And these are definitely moist. So, as I said, this is a bust, and perhaps you can do freeze drying in the big chest freezers, but it did not work in my kitchen freezer. So, that's an update. Okay, well, today seems to be my day for cleaning out the fridge and catching up with a few chores that I haven't looked after properly. If you've ever made sourdough bread and keep sourdough starter in your fridge, I'm sure that there are times that you forget about it. And what happens is it goes really ugly. You get this liquid forming. This should have been fed a long time ago. And is it salvageable? Well, I say it is. Hang on. Okay, well, the first thing I did was dump out that liquid that had separated, and I'm going to stir this up. And the reason I say that it is salvageable is that this isn't the first time I've done this. Poor baby should have been fed a long time ago. This is a live culture, so it should be fed on a regular basis, but even if you do not, it is salvageable. So, in order to feed this, we take equal weights of 3 parts. The original sourdough starter, some water, and some flour. So, to get equal parts by weight. So the first thing I'm going to do is tear this out so that even with my mason jar on here, it reads 0 grams, so that I want equal amount of grams of flour, water, and my sourdough starter. And I think I'll start with the sourdough starter, and the rest just gets tossed. And I think I'm going to aim for somewhere in the range of 75. I've got 77. Okay, 80-ish. Well, 83 grams. That's close enough. So I'm going to zero this out again. and I want 83 grams of water. I'm not making a whole bunch of sourdough starter, but I am trying to feed this so that it could come back to life. There's 80. A little more than 83. I've got 87, so I'm going to just put another 4 grams. I zeroed that out again. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I've got 87 now of water. 87 grams of water, 87 grams of sourdough starter. And I zeroed it out again, and actually I'm going to use this, and I have to zero that out again because the weight of that would be included. Okay, so now we want 87 grams of flour. That's 33. 64, 68, 75, 78, 80, 82, 83. Okay, 87 exactly. So now we can put all of this away. We throw away our leftover sourdough starter. Unless we want to make another batch, we can do the same thing again, but I don't need a second batch, so I'm going to throw this out. And I can put my scale away. It's done its job now. And at this point, all we want to do is stir up this flour, this mixture. Okay, so at this point I've got a clean wooden spoon, and I'm just going to mix this all up. Until we have a nice thick paste again. Now, I'm not going to put this in the fridge immediately, although I could do that, and it will come up. It'll take longer to come back to life. So I think I'm just going to leave it on the counter, and I may allow it to come back and then do it a second time before I put it in the fridge. Don't have to. I've done this in the past where I just go to this stage, and then I cover it up and put it in the fridge, and it's good until the next time. Really should be fed at least once a week. I'm afraid this one was forgotten, and definitely longer than a month. Okay, so that's it for my sourdough starter now. And as I said, I'm going to clean the edges here, cover this up, and leave it on my counter. Okay, so the edges have been wiped down, and I've got a clean cover. I'm just going to seal it up, leave it on my kitchen counter for a couple of hours, and then when it bubbles up again, I may feed it a second time, or I may put it in the fridge at that point. I haven't decided. Okay, that's it for now. I still want to maintain sourdough starter because it does take a week to 2 weeks to properly fully develop from scratch. You know, I've made it from scratch. I can do that again, but it's a whole lot easier just to keep and feed your existing sourdough starter. And you've neglected it for a while, you can bring it back. So as you can see, I've done that, and it's been successful for me every time. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.